Okay, speak to the person who has invited you. I'm now going to do a specialized training for all those. Let me come here. Okay, this is a specialized training, okay, for all those who are going to listen. And the training is a very simple training, but it's a very deep training. And the training will blow your mind, ladies and gentlemen. The training I'm about to give, they will expose your mind. And it is entitled, Business is from God. Somebody should please type that into the chat for me. I want to quickly do this training in the next 30 minutes, and then we are done. Business is from God. Business is from God. Somebody should type it there for me. Because the thing is this, if you have an understanding, if you know that business is from God, what would you do? Somebody should tell me. If you knew that business is from God, what really would you have done? What would you do if you knew that business is from God? Let me see some of the things people are typing there. If let me see. If you knew that business is from God, what will you do? What could you really possibly do? You would do it with joy, isn't it? Like you would do it because you knew that God accepts it. You would do it because you think that you are propelling even the activities of God, isn't it? You would do it because you know that God supports it and you are advancing the principles of God. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. That's why when a person lacks knowledge, pull your toe. When a person doesn't have knowledge about something, it's so painful because that person doesn't know. That's the point. The person doesn't know. And when the person doesn't know, it makes it very difficult for that person because he doesn't know. He doesn't know. And so he's doing things out of lack of that knowledge. And I've been saying this, and if you want to take notes for some of this thing, until what you know becomes what you do, you don't know anything. Until what you know becomes what you do, you don't know anything. Why? Why don't you know anything? You don't know anything because the evidence of knowledge is result. The evidence that you have knowledge, that is why you can have a knowledgeable fool and an ignorant fool. Or somebody can be knowledgeable and yet being a fool. Goes into the Garden of Eden. Eve knew clearly that if she ate the forbidden fruit, she would die. She knew. How do we know? Because when the snake, the devil said that, did God really say that you mustn't have it? He said, no, God didn't say that we mustn't have it. He said we can have everything, but except this one. Oh, good. So she knew, she had knowledge. But she was not able to apply that knowledge, and yet she didn't. And she eventually died. Out of that, she died. So a person can die because that person doesn't have knowledge. So see, you can be so sure of your idea that what you are following is right, when in fact what you are following is wrong. Like the way some Al Qaeda people have so strong belief that when they kill 1,000 people, the more people that they kill, they will go upward. That's not how the world works. Okay, so knowledge is true knowledge is very, very essential. So I'm going to show you some proof why you should do a business. I don't know what business, but a real, truthful, honest business. You should have a business. There's too much gift of manna already. You don't have to ask God to give you manna anymore. You know why? Because there's too much manna. And I want to diffuse this idea of selling before we also proceed. Selling is not about hawking. Selling is unveiling the value of what you have, okay? Uncovering the value of what you have to offer so well that people are happy to give you exchange the money that they have for the value that you have brought on board. That is selling. And selling and business are together. And so when someone is on the pulpit preaching, that person is a businessman. That person is selling God's knowledge. When someone is a teacher, that person is a businessman. You see, the word business comes from the word busy. Okay. So when you are a teacher, and you are giving some mathematical teaching, you are selling knowledge. And the same way, when you have something, a service, or you have a product, and you bring that product to the marketplace, you are a business person. And I'm going to show you that business is indeed from God. Now, first thing, Abraham was a businessman. How do we know that? Well, Abraham, you can read it, Genesis chapter 13, verse 2. Okay? I've mentioned that quite a number of times. Genesis chapter 13, verse 2. Who can read it so that I will unmute the person to read? Who can read that? Because there's a training. Okay. Who can read that? You just raise your hand and I'll unmute you for you to do that reading. Because see, ladies and gentlemen, you want to know what you are doing is who is behind what you are doing. Abraham was a businessman. If Abraham was alive today with us here, he would do business. And I'll show you that. Okay. Okay. So Stephen, your hand is up. I just want to unmute you now. Okay. Stephen, I made you a co-host, so unmute yourself. Yes, I've made you a co-host. Unmute yourself and talk. Just read that for us. I want to pick up some things. And please, this is learning. It's not religious at all.
13 verse.
Go ahead.
13 verse. Please, the verse.
2, verse 2. Verse 2.
Okay. It reads, and Abraham was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold.
Thank you. I mean, you can do this, before this, the previous chapter, God has told Abraham that I'll bless you. I'll bless you so much. Anybody who will curse you, I'll curse the person too. Anybody who will bless you, I'll bless the person too. Now, in verse 13, he says, Abraham was very rich. Guys, why do you think God added the word very to the rich? Why do you think God added very to the rich? Abraham was very rich. And he was rich with what? Cattle. He was rich with gold. That was the kind of business Abraham was doing. He was in animal husbandry. He was an agriculturist. This was a major job the Israelites were given. And you will see that principle running through, okay? And so Abraham was a businessman. God didn't just bless him, he had to do a business. Do you remember that when he had an issue with the nephew Lot, and Lot was choosing, okay, the land, Lot chose the land that was fertile, and that was closer to the Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's what Lot did. And eventually something happened at some point in time. Okay, there were 5 Canaanite kings came to rampage the entire city and took Lot away. Abraham was called by a servant that something has happened to your brother. Now, what is that something? They've captured him. Abraham took a private army and went, killed all the kings, killed all the army there, and brought Lot back. Abraham had a private army. Do you think that you can be someone with a private army? Why didn't he go alone? He went with a private army. You can't have a private army unless you are a millionaire. Abraham was more than $500 million in today's terms, in 2020 terms. And that is why he was able to conquer the people. So here's a thing. If Abraham was a businessman, what do you think Isaac would be? Isaac was a businessman. We know the story of Isaac, he being a businessman and how he had gold. And ladies and gentlemen, you know something? Sometimes the reason why many people are not doing business is not because of anything. They've not introduced that principle into their mind. You see, our subconscious mind cannot accept that we got to have a business. So straight away, he starts writing a CV. He doesn't even know that God will endorse business more than he will endorse job. Now, the word being an employee itself is tantamount to slavery. When the Israelites were in Egypt, They were slaves. And that's why God had to liberate them. But he needed the right time and the right person to help to liberate them. But anytime they were working all right, as human beings working, but that was slavery. That was slavery. So anybody who is an employee is a slave. I'm telling you, me too, I'm part of it. I am part of it. But I'm trying to get into the business arena so that over time, what will I do? I'll take myself. Let me tell you why the person is an employee. It's a slave. Because whatever the person is doing, he's not doing it for himself. He's doing it for someone else. He's only being paid for the hours that he brings to the marketplace. And so that person is slaving, because if he dies today, whatever he has is not for him. It is for the children of the employer. So God didn't like that. And I'll show you something. God didn't like that at all. And so he decided to take these Israelites out of where they were so that he will give them a land for them. Now, my good friend, you read Genesis chapter 13, verse 2. I want you to read verse 8. Verse 8. That was when Abraham actually told Lot. But I want to show you something, guys. Are you there? Read verse 8.
So Abraham said to Lot, please, there should be no... Okay, so Abraham said to Lot, please, there should be no quarreling between me and you, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen.
Stop there.
For we are brothers.
My herdsmen and your herdsmen. So what do you think Lot was? What kind of job was Lot? Stephen, can you tell us?
Businessman. He's a businessman.
He was also a businessman. And what kind of business was he doing?
Livestock.
That's it. Now, guys, I want you to go to 27, Genesis 27. See, knowledge is asset. Knowledge is, thank you. I like the word David has even put, agribusiness. I like that. That's beautiful. Agribusiness. Okay. That's the thing he was doing. Now, I want you to go to, and I want to show you something about Isaac. That is a son of Abraham. Isaac, Genesis chapter 24. Genesis 24, verse 35. Genesis 24, verse 35. Stephen, are you there? I need two people so that one person will be reading for us, because I want to move this thing faster. I want to quickly finish. Okay. What are we discussing? We are discussing that business is from God. Have that in mind. Oh, who? Can somebody else raise a hand and be reading for us? Stephen, you need help. Go ahead.
The network is... Yes, bro.
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. Chapter 24, verse...
35.
The verse.
35.
Okay. All right. It reads, and Jehovah has blessed my master very much, and he has made him very wealthy by giving him sheep and cattle, silver.
Stop. Who is talking? It's Eliezer. Eliezer. The guy who is talking is called Eliezer. This was when Eliezer was going to look for a wife for Isaac. He says his master. Good. Who was the master?
Isaac.
Isaac was the master of Eliezer. Eliezer is looking for Lobe wife, for the master. Now, instead of saying that my master is a good man, my master is humble, he says my master is what? He's using cash.
Blessed, very rich.
He's using cash. This is Isaac. He's using cash to woe the woman, the wife of Isaac. Do you get it? And so that family was a family business. It was so much of a family business to the extent that Isaac was benefiting from the family business. That is why Eliezer was able to give gold. Look at verse 53. He was able to give gold to the girl, to woo her. 53. Verse 53.
Okay. 53. It reads,
and the servant began to help Isaac. So, Stephen. Yeah, go ahead, Stephen.
And the servant began to bring out articles of silver and of gold and garments, and to give them to Rebekah. and he gave valuable things to her brother and to her mother.
Why didn't he give love? See, ladies and gentlemen, Isaac was so wealthy, we calculated his income. His income was so much that he had to woo Rebecca with his business. Okay, I've got Albert. Albert will be supporting us. Okay. So he had to woo with what? With Rebecca with gold and silver. So look, do you know that Rebecca should have rejected the thing? When Rebecca was called by his parents, that the man, he has not even seen his face. Oh, he has not even seen Isaac's face. They said the man has brought all of these things. Do you like it? She says, who doesn't like? That's what Rebecca says. Who doesn't like? Ladies and gentlemen, we were created in the image of a creator, and we are also supposed to extend the creation of God by creating a business. Okay. And then using that business, we can create, we can provide value to the world. So the first family business to expand the activities of God was in the Garden of Eden. Okay. I didn't read that, but I said it. Okay, Genesis chapter 2, verse 11. God put gold in the garden. In the Garden of Eden, there were only two people, Adam and Eve. Adam is not selling. You see, gold is a medium of exchange. Adam is not selling. Eve is not selling. And yet God put gold there. Why? Then he said that the gold of that land was good. So there was a business right from the Garden of Eden. But why did God put gold there? Because gold was the eighth item that was good. When God created the heaven, everything God said was very good, it was very good. The eighth time the word good was mentioned was in connection with gold. Good gold. If you check, look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 11 and verse 12. So here's the thing. Adam and Eve didn't even need gold because they had everything. They had a Garden of Eden. And yet God gave them gold to indicate the abundance that they had to have. So abundance was necessary for God. And that meant that it has to perpetuate. So Isaac also did a business. Isaac gave birth to Jacob. And as for the story of Jacob, who doesn't know? We know the story of Jacob. He fought. Remember Jacob and Esau? Jacob and Esau, he took the birthright, okay, so that he will get a blessing. Eventually, Esau also became rich, but Isaac also became very, very rich. And at some point when Esau wanted to kill him, he had to go with a gift, plenty gift, to go and pacify his brother. He was a businessman. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to please look at Exodus chapter 6, verse 8, because I want to point something. You see, it is interesting to know that when God brought the children of Israel out of Egypt into the promised land, now they are in the promised land, according to Exodus chapter 6, verse 8, God gave them something. I want you to see. This is where the business began in the world. Who can read that for us? This is where business began. And then you can link it with the Jewish phenomenon. Write this book down. The Jewish phenomenon. The Jewish phenomenon. By Lapin. And you can understand why all the Jews are millionaires. All the Jews, they are millionaires in America and in Britain. Even here in Chelsea, they are there. They bought all the lands in Arsenal and Chelsea. Okay, and Croydon. Who is reading? Exodus chapter 6, verse 8.
And I will bring you into the land that I swore with an oath to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I will give it to you as something to possess.
Good. So watch it.
I am Jehovah.
Exodus chapter 6, verse 8, he gave them a plot of land, every Israelite. And that was because the economic infrastructure of the world at the time was based on agriculture. That's why God gave them a land. Today, the economic infrastructure of the world is technology. Are you with me? Are you really getting me? If King Solomon was alive today, you would know that kind of job. Anyway, so when he says, I'll bring you out of the land I swore, because he wanted to give it to Abraham, okay? Abraham, you have already said that Abraham was very wealthy and all of that. Okay? Now he's giving it. So when he gave them that plot of a land, he was literally giving them a business, a family business on which to raise crops and to raise animals. Now I want you to go to 13, Proverbs 13, verse 22. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22. I'm saying that if you're a business person, if you are a person on this planet and you don't own a business, you are not perpetuating the activities of God. That's what I'm saying. And I'm proving that. So business is from God. Every so-called Christian must have a business. I'm telling you, it will be difficult to probably appreciate, but you will understand. Are you there? It doesn't matter what business, though. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22.
Okay. It reads 22 reads, the good person leaves an inheritance to his grandchildren, but the sinner's wealth will be stored up for the righteous one.
So watch it. A good person leaves an inheritance for his children, or his grandchildren. Do you know what that means? If you want to leave an inheritance, you got to leave an inheritance not for your children, but for your children's children. What do you think is the best inheritance to give at that time? God gave the land to the people of Israel as what? As an inheritance. That's what he did. That's what he did. They were not to sell the land because ultimately their business was God's business. Look at Leviticus chapter 25. Leviticus 25 verse 23. Leviticus 25, 23. They were never supposed to sell the land because the land was for them to use it for perpetuating their business. Every Israelite must have a land. Who is reading for us? Leviticus 25. Every Israelite must have a land.
The land should not be sold on a permanent basis because the land is mine. For you are foreigner residents and settlers from my standpoint.
So you cannot sell the land. If somebody is a foreigner, he has to use the land. So when you use the land, you give it to your next generation. You give it to your next generation. This is a business, because the land was being used for animal husbandry and crop farming. The Jews understood this. God bless them and gave them a family business. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please note that is not to say that we all have to do agriculture using the land. No. But the principle is we are drawing from this is this. Things change over time. Okay, and biblical principles must be applied accordingly. Okay, gone are the days when DVDs were there. Now we don't have DVDs, we have online videos. That is why Netflix is flying. Things are changing. We are in the information age, we are in the technology age, we are in the machine learning, info edutainment world, the AI, the robotic engineering world. And God blesses people who are not even his people. That is why when you look at Matthew 5, 44 and 45, he says sometimes you even pray for your enemies. Okay? God makes his sun and his rain, shine and fall on both the good and the bad people. So God's undeserved kindness is for everyone, even those who don't even serve God. He makes sure that as long as they are created in his image, if they go and try to do a business, he will bless them. Even when they don't believe in God. And there are some great people in this world who don't believe in God at all. They are atheists. They have made it openly clear. But then it's a principle that when you do a business over time, not immediately, but over time, okay, unlike when you do a job over time, 40 years, you'll never even get anywhere, okay? But when you do a business over time, you will do well. It's a principle. So here's the point, guys. Family business allows you to have something that God has already blessed. Listen carefully. Family business, it will give you something God has already blessed. Like you are starting something, but the job, he's not blessed it. He's not blessed. And that's why he took the people out of that job environment of Egypt. He's not blessed it. It was so many. He has to take them. Even if he has to pass them through the Red Sea to go to a place they can do, he has to do it because that job was slavery. So you will recall that when Joseph was in Egypt, in Potiphar's house, okay, because Joseph didn't have a house, and Joseph was in the house of Potiphar, it was Potiphar's house that was blessed because of Joseph. If you like, read Genesis chapter 39, verse 5, you see that. So Joseph himself was a kind of a slave. He was a prisoner. And as a prisoner, he has been taken to the house of Potiphar. But God is supposed to bless Joseph, and he didn't bless Joseph. He blessed the house of Potiphar because of Joseph. Why? So, who's reading? Okay, who's reading for us? Genesis chapter 39, verse 5. I want to make a point. You've got to own a business. Nobody's
From
reading.
the time he appointed him over his house and he's in charge of all that was his, Jehovah kept blessing the house of the Egyptian because of Joseph.
Okay, so
Jehovah's blessing him.
He kept blessing the house of that Egyptian because of Joseph. Okay, we need more people to be reading. You should be participating. Participation will give you the essence of what we're discussing. You see, it takes a lot of courage to vomit the truth, because sometimes the truth is not easy. And sometimes people will even question you. Now, I want you to go to verse 22 and 23. Go to verse 22 and 23. I want to make a point there. The same place, 22 and 23. Because when Joseph was in prison, the prison was also blessed. Isn't it?
The chief officer of the prison was looking after absolutely nothing that was in Joseph's care. But Jehovah was with Joseph. Jehovah made whatever he did successful.
So the prison was blessed. The prison was blessed. Okay, the prison. Can you imagine? Prison was blessed because of who? Because of Joseph. Joseph himself was in prison, and yet the prison is being blessed because of him. Now, when he became the prime minister of Egypt, Egypt was blessed because of Joseph. In Genesis chapter 41, the story is there. The same way God blessed Laban. You go and check Laban. There's a guy called Laban. He had a business. Read Genesis chapter 30. Please look at chapter 30, verse 27. Chapter 30, verse 27. Gideon says he's ready. Gideon, I was saying that whoever was ready should raise their hand. I think you weren't raising their hand. Okay, yeah, Gideon, I've made you. Who else will be reading? Some other people. Everyone can be reading. Who can read that? Genesis chapter 30, verse 27. I made you a co-host, by the way. You got to love knowledge. Guys, love knowledge. Okay? Know that what you are doing is divine.
Okay, bro, please, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Genesis chapter 30, verse 27. Then Laban said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, I have understood by the omens that Jehovah is blessing me because of you.
So Laban was blessed because of Joseph. Okay, guys, like, I can't believe. Because of Jacob, sorry, by the way. Okay, so God blesses people, business, because of something they're doing. So your businesses are blessed. Rachel and Leah, they were part of this whole process. So listen, guys, if you don't have a business, then God has nothing to bless you. Write it down. If you don't have a business, if you don't have a business, then God must bless the business or the company of the person whom you are working for. I'm repeating it. And you will be the one to bless that, to make that person be blessed. I'm repeating that. If you don't have a business, then God has no option than to bless the business or the company of the person whom you are working for. That is why that person will do well. That is why that person will do well. You will not. You will struggle. You see, for the company you are working in right now, the owner is probably chilling his tattered body on the island of Maldives somewhere. And you are sweating. Hardly do they normally come to the workplace because they've created businesses. And that, because God must look for a business to bless. That's the first point that I want to take on. And God will do this something. He has to give your blessing to your employer because you have nothing at that time or anything for God to bless. So Pete, Joseph was the prison was being blessed because of Joseph. Potiphar's house. Potiphar is a pagan man. He was being blessed because of Joseph. That is why when you resist walking in the concept of business, and I've said this many times to my people, when you resist, walking in the concept of business, which is a good idea because business is from God. Okay, it is God's idea that you do a business. When you resist that, you resist the potential blessing that will come directly through the business of yours that God has already blessed. You can generate 100% revenue to a company and you will not even get 10% salary. Do you know that? Did you know that you can generate 100% money to a company? You will do it. And you will get not even 10% of that money. In fact, I was talking to a banker, and the banker was saying that the amount of money he is generating for the bank, the amount of money he's generating for the bank, and then the salary he's getting from that man, he looks at it and says, because you're a slave now. Now, I want you to look at Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 7. You're a slave. It's difficult, but you're a slave. You're a slave. And so that is what will happen. So you got to own something. And you got to hold on to that owning, okay? Who is reading? Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 7. This is a principle. I like the way King James Version says
verse 7.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes 5:7 is I'm reading.
If you can also have access to the King James Version, you can also quote from the King James Version. Oh, you're a slave. Oh. You're a slave. Every employee is a slave. It's not in a negative sense, but it is what it is. It's like saying that you're a woman. You're a slave. You're a slave. You're a slave because you're working for something. Yes.
For just as many preoccupations lead to dreams, so too many words lead to futility. But fear the true God.
Okay. Is that what the King James say?
No, I'm reading from
okay, no problem. No. But the King James puts it in a certain way, because whilst I'm trying to search for it. King James says that for a dream cometh through the multitude of businesses. A dream comes through a multitude of businesses or activities or effort. That's where the dream comes. And fool's voice is known by the multitude. So here's the point. It's a principle. Dream comes through a multitude of businesses. You can achieve your dream through a multitude of businesses. The principle is that you must work across time and across space. It doesn't matter whether you serve God or you don't. That's why so many atheists do well. So many Buddhists do well. So many agnostics do well. It is no respecter of religion. What I'm teaching you has nothing to do with religion. It's called life teaching. When you begin to attach religiosity into some of these things, it doesn't help you to get the life input of it. Then you don't understand why someone who doesn't even believe in God is still doing well, using the principle of God. As long as you can create and have a business, you put your business on the path of blessing. Stop. You don't need God to come and bless it, because He's already blessed that before you even started. And that is why most of the great people, the billionaires of the world, even though some of them are not religious, they are doing well. In the New Testament, when you look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11 and 12. Okay. Who is there and can read that also for us? 1 Thessalonians 4. 1 Thessalonians 4, 11 and 12. There's something there that is very poignant, especially when it is from the King James as well. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, to do your own business. To do your own business, to work with your hands. As we are commanded it. That's what it says there.
Probably so said 1 Thessalonians chapter
4:11. That is what it actually brings across.
Okay.
So own your own business. That's the principle there. So that you can pay your own bills on time. So you lack nothing. Own your business. So God's plan is for His people to have a business.
4:11 says that make it your own aim to live quietly and to mind your own business and to work with your hands, just as we instructed you.
That word, mind your own business, okay? It carries the idea of owning your own business. It doesn't mean mind your business like, like we put it like mind your matter, mind your matter. No, because it was in connection with work. That is why it says that work with your own hands. Now look at verse 12. What does verse 12 say? So that you can
Verse 12 says that, so that you may walk decently in the eyes of people outside.
Do you know why?
Not need anything.
Yeah, that word work decently in there, so that you don't beg. Ladies and gentlemen, begging is slavery. That's for another day. If you beg, so you can work decently, because when you don't own your own business, you are not busy doing your own work, you start asking people to give you money to pay bills. You start, can you borrow me to pay bills? Can you are working indecently when you do that. So God's plan is for his people to have a business that will serve the people's needs. And of course, it will pay you for the services you render. The essence of all of these things is to let you know that knowledge is the tap root of wealth. Write it down. Knowledge is the tap root of wealth. That is why when King Solomon had that knowledge, God has to add wealth to it. Knowledge is the tap root of wealth. Okay? That wisdom is from God. And that wealth is from God. And there's nothing wrong being wealthy through business you own. Because wealth is the totality of your integrity, love, humility, okay, and income. And business is one way to generate material wealth from God. You have to understand this. You have to understand this before I actually can teach you how to be wealthy, guys. We have already learned from those principles. There are many more things I'll bring to your consciousness next time. Next time we'll do this training. Let me tell you the things I'll show you. Why do you think Paul said that you should own your own business? We'll look at that. Why? Did you know to what extent was King Solomon the greatest businessman of all time? The Jews in the US are just 0.19%. Okay, so let's look at the whole world. The Jews are just 0.19% of the population of the world. And yet they control 40% of the wealth in the world. Should I repeat that? The Jews, they don't even make up 1%. Not even 1%. They are 0.19% of the population of the world. And yet the Jews control 40% of the wealth in the world. Why? I'll tell you. The Lebanese in Ghana, I will show you next time why the Lebanese are always business-minded and always doing well. I will show you that entrepreneurship, there's a story of entrepreneurship, okay, a business ownership in 2 Kings about a certain woman who was so broke and needed money, okay? And then the prophet actually had to help her with the principle of a business she didn't understand. And that woman became so wealthy. I'll show you that principle, okay? By the way, Jesus himself, when he saw something he wanted, he told the story of a man. When the man saw something he wanted, that man, went to sell everything he had so that the man could buy that thing. How is that possible? Listen, more than 60% of Jesus' parables involve business. I'll show you why next time. More than 60% of Jesus' parables are all about business. I'll show you. The reason why many will not make it is because they will not even understand these things that I'm talking about. It takes knowledge to understand knowledge. Did you know that? Like before you can understand 7 plus 2, you must have understood 1 plus 1. So if the person doesn't understand 1 plus 1, it's difficult. So knowledge is in progression. How and when to become more. How and when to do more. How and when to have more. These are knowledge principles. Next time, I will expose you to the foundation of wealth creation, the foundation of ignorance, the foundation of knowledge, the foundation of understanding, the foundation of wisdom. I'll show you in a unique way why these are necessary to be able to achieve the highest level of value creation, which is known as imagination. I'll reveal to you how you can be a creator of your own business. You see, God Backup is for everyone, but some people are generating more because of the value they attach to that thing. It's a principle. I'll teach you how to determine your own unique value proposition. Because some of you have written it and I've shown that some of them have not even heard about it. The unique value proposition. I'll show you. I'll show you how to sell that uniqueness without selling it, okay, and still rake a lot of income. And please remember, apart from God Backup, you must have another business. I'll show you. Don't look at the price. Don't look at the price. You have enough to absorb from this arena here. If you take the knowledge that we'll be learning, I'm telling you, you will have so much in your bucket full. Go Backup is not the only income that I get. I don't get Go Backup income alone. I have 3 other income sources, 3 other businesses, okay, that I'm earning from that. Because once you are a business person, you're a business. You see, it's not about business in this. You're a business person, you're a business person. You're a business in this, you're a business. It's all business. Business is business. It's from God. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a question, you can ask, okay? If you don't have a question, we'll meet again next time. It's just 3 minutes to the hour. If there's a question, please, you can ask. If not, it's been a pleasure. Oh, and by the way, from today, don't have that negative mindset when it comes to selling. Okay? Don't have that mindset. I mean, I don't like to sell. And if you don't like to sell, the word of God is a selling principle. Selling is not about money. Selling is uncovering the value of something you have so that people will appreciate that value. When a boy goes to propose to a girl, that boy is selling knowledge of himself to the girl so that the boy will buy him. So you got to learn how to uncover the value of things to people. You got to learn how to uncover. That is unveiling the value of the thing and then giving it to people. It's a skill. It's a skill. It's called skillionaire. And that is the skill a lot of people don't have. See, never sell something by selling that thing. Write it down. Never sell something by selling that thing. Me, when I'm selling you this mobile phone, I will never sell the mobile phone, but I'll say something and you will buy this mobile phone. That's how it is. So it's not the thing you got to sell, but you got to sell the emotion the person gets. I'll teach you that. You sell the emotion. So I won't sell this thing. I will ask the person, if you can take if there's a way that you can do this, would you like? For example, if there is a way you can actually be in Dubai with your family and your children are actually running into the swimming pool. And as they are running into the swimming pool, one of the child throws the balloon into the sky. And then the other boy jumps and catches the balloon and brings the balloon. How would you feel when you should see that? The person will be happy. What if I give you that thing that you want? Selling is a principle. And we'll be learning that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much indeed for all of you for coming on the program. It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure having everyone. We'll meet again. If there's no questioning, we'll meet again we have our training tomorrow from present time. Okay. We also have several other things over the weekend. Okay. Our next actual meeting, okay, we are going to have is going to be on Sunday. That is a public one. Sunday, 8 p.m. GMT. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your co-workers, tell your acquaintances, tell your neighbors, tell your strangers, tell your enemies. Tell them that we have some gift for them and that they can invite their friends to come and see. Thank you very much indeed. Have a wonderful day and bye-bye.